Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So Bitcoin's breakout over 120k didn't exactly last, and the tumble since has sent the entire market on edge. In today's video, we're going to go over Bitcoin's key price action, including current supports, triggers, and short-term breakout structures, plus how the recent move is impacting the altcoin market and how shifting Bitcoin dominance could be setting the stage for the next altcoin season. Let's get into it. As always, before we jump in, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and sign up to my free Telegram for more regular Bitcoin updates. If you're a trader and you're interested in joining my VIP trading channel, be sure to message me down below on Telegram. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Alrighty guys, so jumping into the charts, let's talk about the recent price action from Bitcoin before we dive into our analysis. So it's been a really busy last couple of days for the price action. As we can see here, Bitcoin has rallied aggressively, but also crashed aggressively in the last 2-day period. In my last video, we were talking about the re-entry into this range here from 16,000 to 120, and how finally pushing above this level of resistance here was a really bullish sign. So it's good to see that that played out and we ended up moving into the range and retesting 120,000, even having a momentary breakout up to 122, but the breakout overall was unsustained. We can see on the 4-hour chart here, after tapping $122.5 thousand, Bitcoin crashed all the way down to this level of support right here at $118,000. On the daily time frame, we can see essentially the failed breakout as well, failing to close that candle. We've still got 42 minutes left, but at this point in time, it doesn't really look like we're going to be able to actually maintain that breakout. Seeing this huge wick right above the top of the range of resistance there, and ultimately failing and closing back within the range. So let's dive into our analysis now on Bitcoin and the current level of support that we're retesting and the potential here to see a bounce. Now, before we get into any more analysis, guys, let's really quickly touch on one of the most important parts of being a successful trader, and that's managing your trading fees. So Bitunix has partnered with me to help you guys out and give you 15% off all of your trading fees. So if you'd like to support the channel and you're still really looking for a great non-KYC exchange with lots of listings, high liquidity, and security, Bitunix is definitely a great one to check out. And as a thank you for signing up under my affiliate code, you can get 10% off your VIP membership if you message me your membership number when you check out your VIP membership. Thanks. Let's get back into the charts. So if we head back over to the 4-hour chart, we can see that there are currently a couple levels of support that Bitcoin is retesting with this recent crash. Starting off with horizontal support, we have $118,000 right here. We know it's a level of support because it is the point of control here on the VRPV, or the largest point in the peak in the volume profile, and it was a trigger for this initial bullish move as well, right? Pushing above the POC there and establishing it as a base of support right there. With that candle on the 4-hour chart, we saw the rally in the subsequent candle right up to 122,000. So moving back down to retest that is going to be our major level of support. And also structurally, we have our short-term uptrend as well, right? Starting from $112.5 thousand over here, we've currently got 3 points of retest, our most recent one established by this crash, and at that structural level of support, and again at horizontal support as well, there is a potential for us to see a bounce. And so what we're looking for in that bounce then is what we failed to do on the daily time frame in this most recent daily candle close, closing above the top of our range here on the daily time frame at 119.945, right? We can see it acting as a level of resistance if we take a look at all the prior daily candle closes as well, right? Over here, rejecting off, over here as well, that was our daily range high. And then we've had, on the smaller time frame, rejections from this general liquidity range as well. So we want to make sure that in the subsequent daily candle close, if we hold the level of support that we're at on the short time frame and we bounce, we push above 120 again, we actually close the daily candle above those levels of resistance. Now, otherwise, if we fail to do that, of course, we'll see a greater breakdown. So losing structural support as well as the point of control here, we can expect a further correction for Bitcoin to then retrace these same levels that we mapped out using this uptrend. So we have the 50 EMA right here at that blue dynamic trend line. But then next, we have 116.3 thousand, the base of this support over here, and the prior low. And then just below that, we have $115,000, this sort of trigger level there. and the range low for the uptrend back down at 112.5k. Now all of that is sort of a laddering effect, right? So we're not going to go down to 112 just because we've lost the uptrend. There are those higher levels of support that we just talked about. In terms of bounce potential, if we go over to the short time frame, the key structure that we're looking at here in terms of the potential reversal here is a parallel channel. So if we zoom into the 15-minute chart, we can see that the crash has been characterized by these consistent lower lows and lower highs, right? Hence the downtrend and the crash back below $120,000. But here on the 15-minute chart, we can see that with the consistency of the range of the downtrend that we've created on the way down, we formed a bullish structure. We have a descending channel, which generally have breakout results or reversal structures, and against that we can also see some bullish divergence on the RSI as well, right? We have lower lows on the price action, but we have higher lows on the RSI. So momentum is flipping bullish or starting to flip bullish on the short time frame. We just need that to actually fulfill itself on the price action as well. So we need momentum to pick up, buyers to step back in and take control of the short-term price action. So the breakout here as well, we can see has confluence with the 50 and 200 EMA on the 15-minute chart, which is really important because that means that if we break above the structure here, we're also breaking above these massive levels of dynamic resistance, and the measured move being the height of the channel takes Bitcoin back above $120,000 and to retest this prior high at 120.7. and moving into this volume gap as well, ending at 121.6k. So another potential to resurface above 120, and holding that on the daily time frame, we can expect an actual breakout here from Bitcoin. So wrapping up the Bitcoin analysis there, we've talked about the current support, we've talked about what happens if we lose the support, the current, positioning of the price action, short-term structures, the trigger levels, and pretty much everything that you'll be watching out for in terms of reversal or not seeing a reversal. So let's move over onto the altcoin market, because we've had a lot of developments over there over the last week and a half or 2 weeks, and we need to talk about it, particularly with the recent crash from Bitcoin and how it has impacted altcoins and Total 3. So if we head over onto Bitcoin Dominance, we can see here that it has been aggressively dropping over the last week and a half, right? We lost the 50 EMA here and immediately fell below the 200 EMA as well. We've rejected off that as a level of resistance there on the daily chart, and Bitcoin Dominance overall is headed in an aggressive downtrending trajectory, which is really good to see, right? Because generally in those periods, it starts to set the stage for a potential altcoin season. And we're also seeing on the weekly time frame something that's really important, being the drop below the 50 EMA on the weekly chart. We haven't seen that for a very long time. Excluding this momentary sort of dip below for a moment there over a candle, we haven't actually truly seen a breakdown from the 50 EMA on the weekly time frame since November 2022, right? We've been above that for a very long time, and generally falling below that 50 EMA on the weekly chart is a really, really big sign for altcoin season and leads to aggressive drops in Bitcoin dominance and aggressive rotation of money from Bitcoin and into altcoins, hence altcoin season, right? Seeing altcoins rally massive percentages as money rotates. So really big moment for altcoins in general right now in the cryptocurrency market, and we want to make sure that Bitcoin Dominance is able to stay below that 50 EMA and truly see the breakdown. Now, the reason why we're talking about Bitcoin Dominance and why it's so particularly important in the current context of Bitcoin's price action is because generally when we see corrections for Bitcoin in periods where Bitcoin Dominance has finally started to drop, that is when we start to see reversals in Bitcoin Dominance, right? Because as sentiment shifts with Bitcoin corrections and we see more fear and more doubt in the market, money rotates back out of altcoins and back into Bitcoin, right? As a less risky, more stable cryptocurrency, and otherwise when there's less fear, more hype, and all those other things, we see money rotate out of Bitcoin into altcoins, right? Because there's better profit generating potential, smaller market caps, and so on and so forth. So after this recent crash, what we're looking at is Total and how it has reacted to the crash on Bitcoin. And what we're seeing so far is actually pretty good. So the crash on Bitcoin, if we take a look at the 4-hour chart, was around 3.5%. Where we go? Over here. So from the wick high all the way down to the wick low, we've seen a correction of about 3.45. And on total, we have seen a similar correction. So it wasn't exaggerated by the altcoin crashes or, I guess parallel crashes that we've seen. We've also seen a 3.5% correction. So that is a really good sign, right? That tells us that despite the fact that we've seen a crash in the market or a little bit of a pullback overall, it wasn't exaggerated in altcoins. And that sort of fear and that sentiment shift hasn't happened just yet. But it also means if Bitcoin crashes a lot lower, right, we've already started to see on the daily time frame Bitcoin dominance start to see a little bit of a reversal. If Bitcoin crashes a lot lower, potentially even retesting the base of the range here, we have a higher risk of seeing a reversal from Bitcoin dominance back upwards, and the loss of everything or all the bullish developments that we've seen in preparation for the altcoin season right now, right? So kind of a critical moment to be looking towards. And also if we take a look at Ethereum, because during periods where Bitcoin dominance is decreasing, altcoins will follow Ethereum as opposed to following Bitcoin. Bitcoin can crash, and if Ethereum doesn't crash, altcoins might not do anything. So what we're looking at as well that's really important is on the Ethereum chart. Very recently on the daily time frame, we have finally managed to clear this high here at $4,097, right? We can see 3 rejections from that level over the last year or 2 years. 3 rejections here, and very, very recently Ethereum was finally able to push above that level. And in the recent corrections from Bitcoin, we're seeing that level potentially gone down to be retested as support. So on the short time frame or the 4-hour chart here, we have a support at 4.15 to 4.18. If we lose that, we have a little bit of a volume gap right back down to 4.97. And we want to see in this retest, or if the retest happens, that it sustains as a level of support. Otherwise, if we zoom out onto the weekly chart, what we're looking for, if we keep holding this level right here, is a movement up into this liquidity range, this final level of resistance starting at 4.47 up to 4.87, right? And then of course moving into price discovery, right, and taking altcoins with it. Alrighty guys, that is a wrap on today's analysis. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. If you enjoyed it or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And sign up to my free Telegram for more regular Bitcoin updates. If you're a trader and you're interested in joining my VIP trading channel, be sure to message me down below on Telegram. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. And sign up down below to Bitunix to get 15% off your trading fees as well. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.